So, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. So, yeah, this will probably be the shortest episode of this series. This is episode 5. Episode 5 of Flashback and Focus. This will probably be the shortest episode because I don't know, I find myself doing less on the chat these days. I don't know if it's because I'm focused on just XAUSD or because I have few pairs that I'm not really doing too much. You know, sometimes, like, the market moves, but like you don't see entries. Yeah, so I find myself doing less on the chart these days. So this last week was one of them. So this last week I took only one trade, so there's nothing much we can do. You can just go over that one trade. Yeah. So we'll have to go over that one trade. It was shorts on XAUSD. Was shorts on XAUSD. So if we go to the daily time frame, yeah. So it was on this day. This was what Wednesday. This bearish move. This was what I caught. This bearish move. Right. I caught this move to the downside. Right. So yeah, let's go over it. So in this trade, there was really nothing much. I did, you know. So the first part of this trade is seeing these rejections. I'm sure I know what momentum is. And in trading, an indication for momentum slowing down is weak rejections. An indication for momentum slowing down is weak rejections. Weak rejections are like these candles with long, These candles are formed with this part of it being long. These are called the wicks. So I'll explain this to the beginner friendly. Right. These are called the wicks. Right. So these are called the wicks in the zone. So an indication for loss of momentum in the markets is weak rejections. So when I saw this at this point, and this is a good supply level, you know, we can call this an order block. I think pretty much all trade price action, order block, whatever I want to call it, is all the same. So some people mark this as another block, whatever. So yeah, so when I started seeing these weak rejections, I knew that at this point, there's a possibility that price will continue to drop. The possibility that price will continue to drop, right? Thereby, this was just a correction move. You know, the market moves like this. Extension, correction, extension, right? So what happened there was a correction move for price to extend once again, right? So at this point, where price rejected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Price rejected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times from this level. We indicated that was a strong level, right? So I just went down to 15 minutes. Another indication was this. For those that understand liquidity, this was like a clear trend line liquidity. Clear trend line liquidity. As you can see here, clear trend line liquidity. So from 15 minutes, that's where I got my entry. So this was my entry. This is my entry 2 by 4 is somewhere around here, just at the low. I think I have a screenshot. I'll put it up. I'll put the screenshot up. But just at the low right here, that's why I went out of this shade. So this drop. So I cut. Right. The only shade I took this week. As you can see, I find myself doing less. But I think it's productive as well. So I have to do so much. Some days you come to the market, take just one trade. Some weeks, take just one trade. Some weeks, take 5-6 trades. It happens. So yeah, it was just this sell I cut. I'm trying to focus on one pair as much as I can and master it. So I'm focusing on XAUSD. That's why most of the trades I share, most of the trades I show you guys I took is on XAUSD because I've been trying to master this pair. So yeah, this was the only trade I took this week. I didn't look at BTC, I didn't look at all of that. But this drop was the only thing I caught this week. Right? Yeah. So I don't want this video to be too long. 10-15 minutes is okay. So now let's jump to the next segment of the video. So now this was the only thing we did last week in terms of execution. This was the only thing we did last week. This drop. Is what I caught last week. Only. As you can see, the market moved, but this was the only drop I caught. Right? Yeah. It's about the 5 hours. So 1% to give me 5%, so 5% up on the week. 10% to give you 50%. You get, so it really doesn't matter. But yeah, this was the trade I took. So let's jump to the next segment, of course. Forecasts. So now this video I'll be looking at all things that are going to happen on these pairs in the coming week. Right? All things are going to be happening on these pairs in the coming week. So let's start with XAUSD. Of course, if you remember, for my guys that watch these videos, you watch the last video, you see up, you can go back to watch it. Check my forecast on. I focus on XAUSD. I said you could see this liquidity taking out. This liquidity taking out. A reaction like this. So that was exactly what happened. We saw these rejections. We saw these reactions. And yeah, the spin point. Unfortunately, I could not take a lot of trades because why I didn't catch this move. Because what I was looking for was for price to come to get to this point first. This one they open to push all the way up here to sell, but price did not get to that point. Price just moved halfway, then started to drop. But on this day, we still had this point at our liquidity target. Still had this point at our target. We had this point and we had our demand level. So that was also confluences for this shot I took. I would have very much held it to this point, but I went out. It's still cool, Cool again the new week. So yeah, what I'll be expecting on XAUSD for this week. So if we jump to the weekly, as you can see, let's just go to the monthly. I like talking about XAUSD extensively. Other pairs I might just to it. Yeah, but XAUSD, I don't talk about XAUSD extensively. So if you look at it on the monthly, we have this very big bullish momentum to the upside at the start of the month. I start of the month to have this very big bullish momentum. So we could very well see this as our first target. Right? We very well see this as our first target for the month. Mind you, we had this point as our overall target. So mainly everything that's happening here is a range. If you look at it on the monthly aspect, everything that's happening here is a range, right? It has been ranging all to these points on the monthly aspect, but we still have this as our target. Obviously, the series is going to take its all-time high at some point. We don't know when, but at this point, what I'll be looking at is this as my first target and that as my overall target. So 38.84 as my first target, then 3500 as my overall target for a series to break these all-time highs. So going back to the weekly, now let me load this from another. Hold on, let me load this from. I think we have here to see a smoother candle formation. Excuse me. So you see a smoother candle formation from here, right? So this is forex.com. So the continued buys, you have 2 points to be looking at. First, you see a slight pullback. So these are the 2 points. You will see that slight pullback. Continued buys. Slight pullback to continued buys. So going to the daily time frame. Now, on the daily time frame, 2 things can happen. On the daily time frame, 2 things can happen. So you will see price open with momentum to the upside, right? To drop, tap here. So what I'm saying is, in essence, if price opens to the upside, right, sweeps the high, and I see momentum slowing down, I'll look for a sell position, catch this price to the downside, possibly here or here. Any point is valid, right? We'll see price do any of that. But if price just opens and start moving to the downside, I'll just wait for price to come here, come to any of our levels, give me a buy confirmation, then I take price up. For let's say it's that simple. You should have an if and then thought process. If this happens, then I'll do this. If that happens, then we'll do this. Right? So I just had my if and then thought process regarding XAUSD. And yeah, it's that simple. That's what I'm looking at. But overall for the week, you should see buys. I like the momentum I'm seeing. You see buys. Right? I wish I could update you guys if it changes. But yeah, let's go to next pair, BTC USD. So BTC USD. So I'll admit we are completely wrong on BTC USD. In this case, right? I didn't see this drop coming. Let me check on the monthly time frame. I didn't see this drop coming. No, I didn't see that drop coming. What I was expecting is a price after this close continue to the upside, and even on the drop, it didn't sweep our high first. It just started going to the downside. So we are completely wrong on this. We are completely wrong. So I would like to sit on my hands when it comes to this. But obviously, I'll be looking at price coming to somewhere around this point. Continue buys. Somewhere around this point, so continue buys. Right? Very much valid on the monthly time frame. So somewhere around that point, I'll be looking at price to continue buys. So if by tomorrow we don't get to this point, sooner or later, sometime next week, we should get to this point. 109,217 on BTC. Sooner or later, we should get to this point. Yeah, so I still think it will continue to drop. So I've seen my heads when it comes to BTC. But yeah, I should see drops continue. So on ETH, so we are wrong on the two cryptos. I won't say I was wrong on ETH because, as you can see, what I was explaining to you guys is the way price was trading at this point, we see price continue to the upside, and that was what happened. But I told you guys that if you continue like that, we set our targets as this. But price almost got to that point. And it swept our daily high. So I won't say I was completely wrong. I just didn't look at ETH. I would have caught a trade. Of course, I was just looking at XAUSDC. Right, but what I'm looking at is this. I like the way it's closing. Honestly. But I think next week we should see buyers coming. I honestly think next week we see buyers coming. See solid buys. Now, what I want to see for buyers stepping is a sweep of this weekly low. So wherever it closes, I want to see a sweep. Right? I want to see a sweep of the low. Then the price start going up. That's what I want to see on ETH. Alright. We can most definitely come here and reject. I don't know how it's going to happen, but for us to see buyers coming, because you have dropped a lot. It's a huge move. You have dropped a lot. So for us to see buyers stepping, we should see a sweep of the low. Then finally on XAUSD silver. So on silver we nailed it, or partially. I said partially because in line with XAUSD I was looking for a pullback to this point before the drop. But as you can see, price started. I set my alerts. It's not like a major pair I trade. Just when maybe I don't see a trade on XAUSD or BTC when I come to XAUSD, but I set my alerts here. If price had triggered, I would have come to check it. But yeah, this is what I'm looking at. Watch the last video to confirm. This is what I'm looking at, but we didn't reach. Well, of course, I'm looking at this pair to start moving to the upside alongside XAUSD. Right. So what I might see is just like, I don't know, might just see it open, or might see price come here first. Either ways, I'll update you guys. Right. So yeah, this will be it for this episode. Like and subscribe. Put down in the comment section what you want to see on these videos. Put down in the comment section what you want me to talk about in these videos. Yeah, so yeah. Have a nice week. Use this week to reset. Use this week to correct your mistakes and plan ahead for the next week. See you guys in the next video. Peace.